don't know who that man is that's driving in those gorgeous loafers, that is Ayrton Senna, one of the best racing drivers of all time. And the reason I bring him up today is because of this video and because of his immaculate footwork. Now, not just his upshifts are brilliant, as obviously shown, but his heel-toe downshifts are the reason why we're here today. So, instead of going through it here in an office chair where I can't do much, let's get in the car and I'll show you what's what. Right into it, what is a heel-toe downshift? I'm going to read from my beautiful notes. A heel-toe downshift, it is shifting from a higher gear, right, let's say 5th gear, into a lower gear, let's say 4th gear, right, while simultaneously braking and slowing the car to the appropriate speed for the lower gear and corner. To dumb it down, for me, really, what that means is if we're cruising down the road in 5th gear, I've got a 4th gear corner coming up. Now, there are multiple ways to do this. I will show you guys those in a moment. But this is how I do it. So I bring my feet over to the left, both feet. I begin to brake as I need, more brake for a harder corner or less brake for a less severe corner. I'm going to brake the appropriate amount until I'm at roughly the correct speed for the lower gear, right? We are in 5th, so I'm going to downshift into 4th. I will begin to clutch in, taking the car out of gear, and with some slight pressure on the back of the shifter, pulling it into that gear without yanking it. I'm just applying some small pressure to it. I will blip the throttle, which will allow it to go into the lower gear, and I will ease the clutch off, right? Then I can transition back over to left foot braking as I need. Now, the reason I bring up the fact that not a lot of pressure is required on the shifting process is because the sole purpose of this downshift is to not only be gentle as you can on the car, but to get it into that lower gear as smoothly as possible, because if you feel any jolts in the car, not only at higher speeds when you have higher risk, can that unsettle the car and cause it to do a lot of wonky things. You don't want it to do that. You also just don't want to be hard on the vehicle. So, moving on from that, another way to do a heel-toe downshift, same thing. You begin to brake and you blip with your heel over. Same process, you're doing the same thing with the gear lever. You have to just test it a little bit and figure out where it likes to be shifted at. Now, I'll talk through it a little bit, but for the most part, I just want you guys to see what I'm doing and not so much hear what I'm talking about. Now, before I even encounter a corner, I'm going to practice it, right? Just in a straightaway. It's no big deal. So I'm in 3rd gear. I want to go into 2nd. I'm going to brake, flip the throttle, and ease out on the clutch, right? See, I wasn't doing it very fast, and usually that's the speed that I do it at, right? As you saw, I'm going to do it again. Clutch in, flip the throttle, into the lower gear, no big deal, right? Back into 3rd. Build up some head of steam. Now we're going to do it with a little bit more brake pressure, right? So brake, ease out the clutch. And I usually ease out the clutch about the same rate of speed every time. It depends. These are just the things I do, but this is how I usually do it. 9 times out of 10. So going from left foot braking, coming into this corner, brake through here, back on throttle through here, and then I'm going to brake coming into this corner, brake, downshift, right? Just rev matching. You want to make that transition as smooth as possible. Throttle through here. Possibly damage gears, and that's no fun. No one likes that. Come through here, 3rd gear. Brake. Now this corner is a hairpin, so I have to downshift into 2nd. So brake. I slowed down a lot. I'm already creating some oversteer a little bit out of the rear end squeaking. Now, obviously to mitigate that, you just ease off of the rear brake, or off of the brake pedal a little bit to keep the weight kind of centered over the car. Now coming through here, big pothole, avoid that. Another key factor in the downshift, and this goes for every aspect of driving, not just the heel-toe downshift, but left foot braking and throttle modulation, is looking where you're going. Don't look at right in front of you. You don't want to be looking right directly in front of the car. You want to be looking as far out as you possibly can. And if you notice my eyes pop back and forth quite a bit, it's because I'm scanning the road. I'm looking as far out as I can, then running my eyes back down the road towards me until I get, within a couple of feet, and then I jump back out again. So I'm doing that as quickly as I can retain information. Coming into second. I'm looking through the corner. I'm not looking at the front of the car as I go through the corner. And I'm constantly looking for pockets or windows where I can see past the next corner. You never know if there's debris or anything in the road. Now we will go over this more in another video on your eyesight and where you should keep your eyes, but for now that will suffice. Now back to the shifting, go back up into fourth, coming to this corner, brake coming into it, a little bit of throttle, more brake, more throttle, ease off the brake, heel toe into third. I've got a left corner and then a hairpin right coming up, so I'm going to brake, coming into this left, then brake and heel toe into second, brake a little bit more, accelerate out hard, brake, throttle. This road is very bouncy, so all the more reason to do your shifts as smooth as possible to keep the car from being unsettled and or sliding or understeering. If you brake too hard, you will understeer and possibly lock up the engine. Not that big of a deal, you just push in the clutch, but if you are understeering, that is an issue you need to solve with less brake and less steering input usually. And if you have been on throttle whilst braking a lot and you have a brake booster, your booster will stop working because it runs off a vacuum and cause the brake pedal to get really firm. And then all of a sudden, whenever you lift off throttle mid-corner, your brakes will all of a sudden work 10 times better and lock up and cause you to understeer. So we're going to come in, I'm in fourth gear, I'm going to heel toe for this corner, brake, no big deal. Notice the reason it caused oversteer was I was harsh on the brakes. I all of a sudden was erratic with my pedal. I wasn't smooth or anything with it, which is okay if that's what you're wanting to happen. Which in that case I hadn't come in with the proper angle for the corner, so I needed a little bit of oversteer to get that corrected. So. topic, you guys gained some new knowledge over something, or have smoothened up your technique